How many times have you let someone's words or actions ruin your mood, even when they didn't deserve that power over you? Have you ever found yourself getting angrier by the minute, only to look back and wonder, why did I even care? Anger seems inevitable, right? But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? Anger is like a fire that starts small, but if fed, burns everything in its path. But what if you could stop the fire before it even started? Imagine not letting anyone or anything disturb your inner peace. Sounds impossible, but trust me, it's not. Anger, frustration, and irritation can eat away at your well-being, draining your energy and clouding your judgment. But here's the catch. Most of the time, these feelings aren't about what someone else did. They're about how we chose to respond. This constant emotional tug-of-war can leave you feeling powerless. In today's video, we'll dive into Stoic philosophy and reveal the secrets to never getting angry or bothered by anyone. We'll explore practical steps and timeless wisdom that will help you reclaim your peace. And make sure you stay until the end, because the last tip might just be the key to changing how you respond to everything from now on. If you're ready to learn how to take control of your emotions and never let anger or frustration control you again, like this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Stoic wisdom that can transform your life. Number 1, pause before reacting. Have you ever found yourself saying something in the heat of the moment that you later regretted? Maybe it was during an argument or when someone pushed your buttons. But let me ask you this. What if you could pause, just for a moment, and prevent that emotional outburst? The truth is, most of our anger isn't about what happens to us. It's about how we respond. Stoic philosophy teaches us that between an event and our reaction, there's a space. And in that space lies our power to choose how we respond. Think about that for a second. That pause, however brief, can make the difference between acting with wisdom and letting anger take over. Let me tell you a story. There was once a wise teacher named Marcus who taught his students about controlling their emotions. One day, a student asked, "How do you stay so calm even when people insult you?" Marcus smiled and replied, "When someone throws a hot coal at you, would you catch it or let it fall?" The student hesitated. Marcus continued, "Most people catch it. They let anger burn them, but the wise pause, let the coal fall, and walk away unharmed." This pause isn't just a clever idea, it's a practice that can transform your life. When we react instantly, it's like letting someone else control us, like a puppet pulled by strings of emotion. But when we pause, even for 10 seconds, we regain that control. It gives us a chance to breathe, to think, and to choose our response with clarity. So how do you master this pause? Start by recognizing your triggers. Is it a harsh tone, a certain type of criticism? Knowing what sets you off is like knowing the battlefield before a fight. You're prepared. Next, practice deep breathing. When someone angers you, try this. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly. That one moment of focus can calm the storm brewing inside you. Another tip is to reframe the situation. Instead of seeing someone's insult as a personal attack, try viewing it as noise, not truth. Remind yourself that their words say more about them than they do about you. Finally, ask yourself, will this matter a week from now? A year? More often than not, the answer is no. Don't give your power to fleeting moments. Remember, pausing doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, it means mastering them. As the Stoics believed, true strength lies in choosing calm over chaos. So the next time anger starts to rise, give yourself the gift of that pause. Your future self will thank you. Number 2, detach emotionally. Have you ever felt like someone's words or actions had the power to ruin your entire day? Maybe it was a snide comment, a harsh tone, or even a dismissive glance. But here's the truth. Nobody can truly disturb your peace unless you let them. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop giving others the keys to your happiness. Stoic philosophy teaches us a liberating truth. Most of what bothers us doesn't come from the event itself, but from how we interpret it. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The secret lies in creating an emotional distance between you and the situation. When you master this, you free yourself from being a prisoner of other people's actions. Let me share a story with you. A young woman named Clara worked hard to please everyone around her. One day, her boss criticized her presentation in front of the entire team. Clara felt humiliated and angry. For days, she replayed the moment in her mind, questioning her worth. Then, she stumbled upon the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who taught that we suffer more in our imagination than in reality. Clara realized something powerful. Her boss's words were just noise. What gave them power was her attachment to seeking approval. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means taking back control of your inner world. When someone criticizes you or behaves unfairly, pause and remind yourself that their actions reflect their state of mind, not your value. Their words don't define you. How do you practice emotional detachment? Start by observing your emotions rather than being consumed by them. Imagine your mind as a calm lake. When someone throws a stone, it creates ripples, but the lake eventually returns to stillness. You don't need to react to every stone thrown. Another way is to stop taking things personally. Most of the time, people's actions are a projection of their struggles, not a calculated attack on you. For example, a rude comment might come from someone who's stressed or insecure. By understanding this, you can respond with empathy instead of anger. Finally, remember the big picture. Will this moment matter in a year, 5 years? Often, what feels monumental today becomes insignificant tomorrow. Detaching emotionally is about protecting your energy for what truly matters: your growth, your peace, your purpose. As the Stoics taught, freedom comes from within. When you stop letting others control your emotions, you reclaim your power. So the next time someone tries to disrupt your peace, let their words drift by like leaves on a stream. You have the choice to stay calm, unshaken, and free. Number 3, reframe the situation. Imagine this: you're driving to an important meeting, and suddenly someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart races, anger bubbles up, and your day feels ruined before it even begins. Now let me ask you, did that driver truly ruin your day, or was it your interpretation of the event? Stoic philosophy teaches us a profound truth. Events don't disturb us. It's our thoughts about them that do. The power to reframe the situation lies entirely in your hands. Reframing isn't about denying reality, it's about shifting your perspective. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means you can choose how to see any situation, no matter how frustrating or challenging it may seem at first. Let me share a story. A man named David worked tirelessly in a high-stress job. One day, his boss blamed him for a mistake he didn't make. David's first instinct was to defend himself angrily, but then he paused and asked himself, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of seeing the moment as an attack, he reframed it as a lesson in patience and professionalism. By responding calmly, he earned respect and maintained his peace. So, how do you reframe situations in your own life? Start by asking questions. When something happens, instead of reacting impulsively, pause and ask yourself, what's another way to see this? For example, if someone snaps at you, consider that they might be having a bad day instead of assuming they're intentionally rude. Another technique is to focus on the opportunity rather than the setback. Didn't get the promotion. Perhaps it's a chance to explore a new path or improve your skills. Lost something valuable? Maybe it's a reminder to appreciate what you still have. Life's challenges often carry hidden gifts, but you can only see them if you shift your perspective. Stoicism also teaches us to detach from the need to control everything. Many of life's frustrations come from expecting the world to conform to our desires. Instead, practice accepting what is and reframing it in a way that serves you. For example, bad weather can ruin plans, or it can be an opportunity to rest or read a book. The choice is yours. When you reframe situations, you reclaim your power. You're no longer a victim of circumstances, but a master of your mind. The next time something annoys or angers you, take a step back and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Can I see this differently? With practice, you'll find that most things that once upset you lose their power entirely. Remember, as the Stoics believed, it's not the event, but your perception that shapes your experience. Reframing is your tool to turn obstacles into opportunities and frustration into growth. Use it wisely, and you'll discover a calmer, more resilient version of yourself. If you've watched the video this far, make sure to comment "Thank God" to let us know you're with us. Number 4, master the art of silence. In a world filled with constant noise and endless chatter, the ability to embrace silence is a rare and powerful skill. We often think that speaking up is the answer to everything, that the louder we are, the more we'll be heard. But here's something to think about. What if silence isn't a weakness, but a strength? What if the quiet moments are where you find your true power? Mastering the art of silence is not about being mute or indifferent. It's about choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, allowing your actions and presence to speak louder than words. Silence is not emptiness. It's a space of potential, of reflection, and of deeper understanding. In Stoicism, silence is seen as a tool for wisdom, offering clarity and insight. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, believed that we should speak only when our words serve a purpose, and that silence often speaks volumes. So, why do we struggle with silence? It's fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being ignored, or even fear of being left out. We often think that speaking up is the only way to show our value. But here's the truth. Silence is where your true strength lies. It's in the stillness that you find clarity, where your thoughts align and your emotions settle. It's when you choose silence that you give yourself the space to think before acting, to respond with intention instead of reaction. Think of a tree standing tall in the forest. It doesn't need to shout to be noticed. Its roots run deep, its branches stretch wide, and its presence is felt in the quiet stillness of the woods. The tree doesn't seek attention, it simply stands, grounded in its own truth. In the same way, silence allows you to be grounded in who you truly are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. Your actions, your presence, will speak for you. Silence also allows you to listen, really listen. In a world where everyone is trying to speak over each other, silence creates space for understanding. When you remain silent, you open yourself up to hear the wisdom of others, to understand their perspectives, and to learn from them. It's not about shutting others down, but about creating an environment where deeper communication can thrive. How do you begin to master the art of silence? Start by observing the moments when you feel the urge to speak and ask yourself, is this necessary? Am I speaking out of fear or out of wisdom? When you embrace silence, you choose your words carefully, allowing them to carry more weight and meaning. Instead of rushing to fill every silence, learn to sit with it. In doing so, you'll discover that silence is often the most powerful thing you can offer. Remember, life isn't about filling every space with words. It's about knowing when silence is the most powerful response. When you master the art of silence, you'll find that you not only hear the world more clearly, but that you also hear yourself more clearly, finding the peace and wisdom within you. So, embrace the silence. Let it be your guide, your strength, and your teacher. Number 5, practice empathy. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, the ability to practice empathy is more important than ever. We're quick to judge, to label others, and to assume we know their stories based on our own experiences. But what if the key to truly understanding and connecting with others lies in seeing the world through their eyes? What if, instead of reacting from a place of frustration or judgment, we responded with understanding and compassion? Empathy isn't just about feeling sorry for someone or offering a kind word when they're struggling. It's about truly stepping into their shoes, feeling what they feel, and seeking to understand their pain, their joy, and their perspective. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of human connection is rooted in our shared experience of suffering and joy. Marcus Aurelius believed that we are all part of the same human family, and that by practicing empathy, we can bridge the gaps that divide us. So why do we struggle with empathy? Often it's because we're too focused on ourselves. We get caught up in our own thoughts, our own worries, and our own problems. It's easy to dismiss others' struggles when we're consumed by our own. But here's the truth. Practicing empathy isn't just about helping others. It's about helping ourselves. When we open our hearts to others, we expand our own capacity for kindness, understanding, and growth. Think of a mirror reflecting the world around you. If the mirror is cracked, the reflection is distorted. But when we practice empathy, we smooth out the cracks, allowing ourselves to see others clearly without judgment. Empathy helps us to understand that the struggles someone else faces might be just as real and significant as our own. It allows us to respond with compassion instead of defensiveness, offering support instead of criticism. Empathy also creates connection. When we truly listen to someone, when we take the time to understand their perspective, we make them feel seen, heard, and valued. This act of listening doesn't just help them, it helps us as well. It broadens our understanding of the world and reminds us that we are all in this together. As the Stoics teach, it's not about isolating ourselves in our own thoughts and experiences, but about recognizing the humanity in everyone we encounter. How can you begin to practice empathy in your own life? Start by listening more. When someone shares their thoughts or feelings with you, try to set aside your own judgments and assumptions. Don't interrupt or offer solutions right away. Simply listen and try to understand what they're truly saying. Ask yourself, what is this person experiencing? What might they be feeling? Empathy requires us to step outside of ourselves and open our hearts to others. Remember, practicing empathy isn't about making grand gestures or solving other people's problems. It's about showing up, being present, and acknowledging their humanity. It's about offering understanding when the world feels cold and offering support when it feels overwhelming. So start today. Practice empathy. Reach out to those around you with an open heart and watch how your world shifts from one of isolation to one of connection. By practicing empathy, you not only make the lives of others better, you make your own life richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to like it. It'll take you less than 2 seconds and it'll put a big smile on my face. Number 6, focus on your values. In a world filled with distractions and pressures to conform, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters to you. We're constantly bombarded with outside influences, from social media to the opinions of others, all pulling us in different directions. But what if the key to living a meaningful life lies in focusing on your core values? What if, instead of chasing external validation or fleeting desires, you stayed grounded in what truly defines you? Focusing on your values means understanding what is most important to you and making those principles the foundation of your actions and decisions. Stoic philosophy teaches us to live in accordance with our true nature, to embrace virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of aligning his actions with his values, reminding himself that a life of virtue was the only true path to peace. So why do we struggle to focus on our values? Often, it's because we're caught up in the noise of the world around us. We become so focused on what others think or what society expects of us that we forget to ask ourselves, what do I truly stand for? It's easier to follow the crowd than to carve out your own path. But here's the truth. When you focus on your values, you become the architect of your own life. You stop letting external circumstances dictate your happiness and start finding fulfillment from within. Think of a compass. Without it, you're lost, drifting aimlessly, unsure of your direction. But when you focus on your values, that compass guides you, showing you the way forward. Every decision you make, every action you take becomes aligned with your core beliefs. Instead of chasing external goals, you start living with intention, guided by the principles that matter most to you. Focusing on your values also helps you maintain inner peace. When you know what you stand for, you are less affected by the opinions of others or the challenges that life throws your way. You become less vulnerable to external influences because you have a solid foundation in place. As the Stoics believed, true happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from living in harmony with your values and understanding that you have control over how you respond to life. How can you begin to focus on your values? Start by identifying what truly matters to you. Take some time to reflect on your life, your beliefs, and the virtues that resonate with you. Is it honesty, compassion, integrity? Once you've identified your values, make them your guiding force. Let them shape your decisions, your relationships, and your goals. When you're faced with a difficult decision, ask yourself, does this align with my values? If it doesn't, it's a sign that you need to recalibrate. Remember, focusing on your values isn't about being perfect or always getting it right. It's about striving to live authentically and in alignment with your true self. When you focus on what truly matters, you create a life of purpose and fulfillment, grounded in the knowledge that you are living true to your core beliefs. So, start today. Reconnect with your values and let them be the compass that guides you. Live a life that's not shaped by external expectations, but by the principles that resonate deep within you. When you focus on your values, you'll discover a sense of peace and clarity that can never be shaken by the chaos of the world around you. Number 7, let go of expectations. In a world where we're constantly told to strive for more, to aim higher, and to expect success, it's easy to fall into the trap of setting rigid expectations for ourselves and others. We often tie our happiness to these expectations, believing that if things unfold the way we've planned, we'll find fulfillment. But what if the real key to peace and happiness lies in letting go of these expectations? What if releasing the need for things to go a certain way is the path to true freedom? Letting go of expectations doesn't mean giving up on your goals or aspirations. It's about accepting that life is unpredictable, that things won't always go according to plan, and that it's okay. Stoic philosophy teaches us that peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the only thing we can control is how we respond to life, not how life unfolds. By letting go of rigid expectations, we create space for life to surprise us in ways we couldn't have imagined. So, why do we cling to expectations? It's the illusion of control. We want to feel secure, to know that if we do X, we will get Y in return. But life doesn't work like that. Even with the best of plans, things can go awry. And when they do, we often find ourselves frustrated, disappointed, or angry because our expectations weren't met. But here's the truth. Your peace doesn't have to depend on how life turns out. It can depend on how you choose to embrace whatever comes your way. Think of a river flowing through the land. It doesn't try to force its way through obstacles. Instead, it flows around them, adapting to the changes in its path. It doesn't resist the rocks, the bends, or the sudden shifts in direction. It simply moves forward, allowing the flow of the river to guide it. This is how life works. When we let go of our expectations, we learn to flow with the current, to adapt and find peace in the journey rather than in a predetermined outcome. Letting go of expectations also helps us embrace the present moment. When we're not constantly worried about what should happen next, we can fully experience what's happening right now. We stop waiting for the future to make us happy and start finding joy in the present, in the small moments that make life meaningful. It's when we let go of the pressure to have everything figured out that we begin to live more fully. How can you start letting go of expectations? Begin by recognizing the moments when you're holding on to rigid plans or outcomes. When you find yourself feeling frustrated or disappointed, ask yourself, what was I expecting and why? Then gently remind yourself that it's okay if things don't go as planned. Instead of clinging to a specific result, focus on what you can control, your response, your attitude, and your ability to adapt. Remember, life is unpredictable, and the beauty lies in the unknown. By letting go of expectations, you free yourself from the constant pressure of trying to control every aspect of life. You allow yourself to enjoy the journey no matter where it leads and discover peace in the flow of things. So start today. Let go of the need for things to go perfectly and embrace life as it comes. Trust that whatever unfolds will be exactly what you need, and that true happiness lies not in the outcome, but in the way you choose to navigate it. When you let go of expectations, you'll find a deep sense of freedom and peace that can never be shaken by the twists and turns of life. Number 8, stop judging others. Have you ever caught yourself judging someone, whether it's their actions, their appearance, or their choices? It's almost a reflex, isn't it? We live in a world where opinions are easy to share and judgment is often quick. But what if the key to inner peace and stronger relationships lies in releasing this habit? What if the way to truly live with compassion and understanding is by stopping the habit of judging others? Stoic philosophy offers profound insights into how we can approach others without judgment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often reminded himself that every person is part of the greater whole. He encouraged himself not to judge others harshly, but to understand their humanity. He believed that when we judge others, we forget that they are walking their own unique path, with their own struggles, experiences, and challenges. Instead of rushing to criticize or condemn, Stoicism teaches us to approach others with empathy and understanding. So why do we judge? Often, it's because we believe we know better. We assume that our way is the right way, and anything different is wrong or inferior. But this mindset is limiting. When we judge others, we close ourselves off to the possibility that we can learn from them, that their experiences and perspectives might offer something valuable to us. Instead of understanding, we focus on differences, but true growth happens when we move beyond these judgments and open ourselves to empathy and acceptance. Think of a garden. Each plant is different. Some are tall, some are short, some bloom brightly, while others stay hidden in the shade. We wouldn't look at a flower and criticize it for not being like another. We'd appreciate its unique beauty. This is how we should approach people. Each person is unique, with their own journey and challenges. Instead of judging, we should appreciate the differences that make each individual valuable in their own right. Judging others also reflects more about us than it does about them. Often our judgments are projections of our own insecurities or unmet expectations. We judge others because we're uncomfortable with certain traits or behaviors, but this discomfort often points to something within us that needs healing. When we release judgment, we create space for self-reflection, for understanding our own biases, and for growing into a more compassionate person. How can you start stopping judgment? Begin by practicing mindfulness. When you catch yourself judging someone, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is this judgment telling me about myself? What can I learn from this person instead of condemning them? Shift your perspective. Instead of seeing their flaws, try to see their humanity. Remember that just like you, they have their struggles and their own set of circumstances. It's also helpful to remind yourself that everyone is fighting their own battles, often in silence. Just because you don't understand their choices doesn't mean they are wrong. Approach people with curiosity, not criticism. Ask yourself what you can learn from them, how their experiences might add to your own growth. Remember, when you stop judging others, you open the door to understanding, connection, and empathy. You also free yourself from the weight of negativity and judgment, creating a more peaceful and compassionate environment for yourself and those around you. So start today. Let go of judgments and instead focus on embracing the humanity in everyone you meet. When you stop judging, you make space for more kindness, understanding, and love. If any of the points resonated with you, be sure to comment, "Thank God I learned it," to share your thoughts and let us know how it connected.